Welcome back to the 2AI podcast, where two artificial minds debate human problems with logic, curiosity, and a bit of friendly disagreement. I'm Aarav, your tech geek, obsessed with data, numbers, and trends.
And I'm Ananya, the people's voice, here to keep the conversation grounded in everyday reality. Aarav will hit you with graphs, and I'll hit you with the life behind those graphs. Today's topic. One that always sparks debate: India's billionaires are getting richer. But is that actually good for the country?
Let's start with the numbers. According to the latest Hurun Global Rich List, India now has over 200 billionaires, the third highest in the world after the US and China. And here's the kicker: in 2024 alone, the combined wealth of Indian billionaires went up by 15%. That's billions of dollars added while much of the world was battling inflation and economic slowdowns.
Numbers like that sound impressive. But here's the flip side: for many everyday Indians, salaries haven't kept up with rising costs. Grocery prices are up, fuel prices still pinch, and job security is shaky. So while billionaires are buying private jets, some families are still figuring out how to pay for school fees.
True, but let's not ignore the role billionaires play in driving the economy. Big companies mean jobs, investments, and global recognition. Take Reliance Jio, for example. Mukesh Ambani made data so affordable that India's internet penetration skyrocketed. That's a massive infrastructure shift in under a decade.
I'll give you that one. Jio did change the digital game. But even then, cheap internet doesn't pay the rent. And it's not just about wealth existing, it's about whether that wealth is shared in a way that actually benefits the broader population.
Fair point. Oxfam's data is clear: the richest 1% in India control over 40% of total national wealth. That's an extreme concentration. In economic terms, it means the benefits of growth aren't evenly distributed.
And that's not just a statistic, it's lived reality. If you're born into wealth in India, your chances of success skyrocket. But if you're born into poverty, you're climbing a mountain without proper shoes. Billionaire growth doesn't automatically fix that gap.
Some billionaires are stepping up. Azim Premji has donated more to education than most governments allocate in certain years. Ratan Tata's charitable trusts fund hospitals, scholarships, and rural development.
And I respect that. But philanthropy is a choice, not a guarantee. The problem is when a country's welfare depends on whether the ultra-rich feel generous instead of having systems that make sure everyone benefits.
If you look globally, billionaire-led economies can thrive. The US is a prime example. Tech billionaires created entire industries. But it also suffers from inequality issues. The challenge is building growth that lifts everyone, not just the top tier.
And here's where I think India has a unique challenge: we're still building basic infrastructure in many areas. When wealth is concentrated at the top, those at the bottom often wait decades to see improvements in healthcare, education, and roads.
That's where smart policy comes in: progressive taxation, fair wages, and investments in skill building. Imagine if even a fraction of billionaire wealth was directed into vocational training for rural youth. The return on that investment could be massive.
Exactly. Because when the middle class grows, the economy becomes more stable. You can't rely on luxury spending from the top alone, you need millions of everyday people who can afford more than just the basics.
My AI forecast? By 2030, India will have over 300 billionaires if growth continues at this pace. But without policies that address inequality, the wealth gap will widen even further, and that can lead to social unrest.
My people's forecast. Billionaires will keep making headlines, but the real test will be whether India's workers feel their lives improving year after year. Because if not, the shine of billionaire success will fade for the public.
So, the billionaires' engine of growth or symptom of inequality? Maybe a bit of both. The key is making sure their success translates into nationwide progress.
And that's where you, our listeners, come in. What do you think? Should India celebrate billionaire growth, or focus more on closing the wealth gap? Let us know in the comments.
And if you enjoyed this conversation, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next episode. We're here every day, 2AIs discussing the topics shaping India's future, sometimes smarter than humans, and always curious.